Hey family, hey friends. I first want to just say thank you so much for subscribing, for sharing, for commenting, for all of those things as I kicked off my announcement for my YouTube channel and my big news. I'm so grateful for all of the love and support over the years. From me going to conferences, from me doing singing opportunities, from me doing speaking engagements. It's been a complete blessing. So today, to kick off my YouTube channel, I want to share a testimony, and then I want to end it with a positive note. Not that my testimony's not, but as you know, normally our testimonies are a testament to what we had to go through in the desert to get to the promised land. And so that is similar to what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And if you saw my post, then you know I shared that my testimony that I'm sharing today is my life after death testimony. And yeah, I may get emotional. And if I do, it's okay if you want to drop a tear with your girl, okay? If you want to laugh, if you want to smile, listen, we're going on a journey. I'm kind of like a storyteller, and I like the details, okay? So I'm gonna allow you to live through my crazy mind and my colorful articulation of stories. So I'm letting you know now, it may get a little like rated R, as in rated real. Look at y'all. But either way, just, take it in stride. And I pray that this inspires you. I pray that it blesses you. I pray that it challenges you. But most importantly, I pray that it will allow you to see how great our Father is. Okay. Well, not quite sure how I'm supposed to just dive in there, but I will start off by saying this. I guess kind of bottom line up front, I'm a military girl, so that's kind of how we do our news. 10 weeks ago, me and Ed decided that we were going to conceive another child. And if you know me, and you know my wonderful husband, then you know we've had kind of mixed emotions. Ed wasn't sure if he wanted to take the plunge and have another baby right now, but I was pretty adamant, and I really wanted to have another child. And finally, my handsome king came around, and we decided that we were going to have another baby. So when we found out that we were having another child, I was super geeked, and Ed was super excited. We were both really, really excited to be having another child. And Ed had said, I really want to keep it kind of private. I don't want to share with anybody until we get past the first trimester. Y'all know your girl. I'm like super Jesus. I am like, my God is an awesome God. Ain't no fear in me. So I was kind of like, I don't think we need to keep this on the hush. Like, what are we being quiet for? We can totally tell people, but at the same time, I was like, okay, well, he did say that he wanted to wait. So I guess I have to, try to contain this. Well, I went to a doctor's appointment, and the doctor told me, oh, you look pretty early. You look like you're about 5 weeks. And I really didn't think anything of it when the doctor said it. I was like, oh, okay. I told Ed, yeah, she said we're about 5 weeks. No biggie. Cool. I didn't really attempt to look at the calendar and kind of see when I missed my period, all those types of things. I was just took it for what it was, about 5 weeks. So with that being said, fast forward, I started what I believe to be spotting during my pregnancy, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, Ed, I think I'm spotting. And he was like, okay, don't you think you should maybe call the doctor? I was like, oh no, we Google told me that it's normal. Sometimes it happens, during your pregnancy, no big deal. Well, that was on a Monday, and Tuesday rolled around. I was still kind of spotting, thinking like, oh, I'm probably good. Well, Tuesday night rolled around, and I was talking to my sister Portia, and she's, I was telling her what it looked like, whatever, and she says, Jay, I really think that you should go to the emergency room. And she was like, I don't want you to make a big deal about it, like, don't freak out. I just want to make sure that you're good, that's all. Not saying that it's anything big. I just want you to make sure you're good. So my sister-in-law, Charlene, was at the house, and I had told her, what was going on. I'm gonna go to the hospital. And immediately I jumped in a group chat. It was me, Portia, Charlene, and Brittany, my 3 sisters. And I told them what was going on. We prayed, they sent me encouraging words. And I literally was not thinking the worst. I wasn't thinking it at all. I was kind of just like free of emotions. But I remember before I 100% said, okay, I'm gonna go to the emergency room, I just remember having this thought in my spirit. It was as if I was telling myself, I just remember this silent cry on the inside, and I said, please don't tell me the time is now. And I really didn't think anything of it. I kind of just took a note, I guess. That was a weird, but again, fast forward, I'm at the hospital now, and I'm just talking, to the nurses, talking to the guys checking me in, talking to the lady who's walking me down the hallway, to the maternity ward. No big deal. So I'm in the room. The doctor comes in. She asked me, about how long are you? I'm like, I had an appointment last week. She told me I was about 5 weeks. I've been feeling pretty good, no crazy symptoms. I just started spotting, but I just want to come in and check things out, make sure everything's good. So she's like, okay, I'm going to give you a vaginal MRI. No, a vaginal, what is this called? A vaginal ultrasound. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. I've never had that before, but great, let's go, let's do it. And I was sitting there for quite some time. And I still, again, I'm not thinking the worst. At this point, I wasn't even thinking, because it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was exhausted. So I really had no thoughts besides, okay, I wonder when this is gonna be over. So I go home, I go to sleep, call it night. So after a while, she asked the assistant, hey, can you lean her up? And she leans me up, and I look over at the screen, and she says, you are 8 weeks and 4 days. And I'm so sorry to even have to tell you this, but your baby doesn't have a heartbeat. I remember just seeing this image in the ultrasound on the screen. I just remember seeing the head and the body. And she circled around what she said was supposed to be the heart. And she said, this is the heart. This is where it's supposed to be. But it's not, there's no heartbeat. And she said, she flipped a switch and you could see colors. And she said, if you can see, you kind of see blood flow around here, but there's no blood flow in the baby. I kind of went numb for a moment. And the next day, I oddly I went home nonetheless, and I went right to sleep. I cried a little bit when I called Ed and I talked to him. I called my mom. I called my mom and Portia on 3-way. I told them. I cried a little bit. And then by the time I drove home, I went right to bed. And when I woke up, I had an absurd amount of peace. I've never felt a peace that I literally could not understand why I had that much peace. But I did. And I ended up writing this, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. Yesterday, I heard the doctor say, "I'm so sorry to tell you, but your baby has no heartbeat or blood flow." I had no initial thoughts because I was almost in shock / disbelief. But I also felt like, even though I am the only one in the room, and clearly the doctor is in my vagina doing a vaginal ultrasound, somehow she was not talking to me. I mean, I'm Janelle Chukwukere, the minister, the gospel singer, the motivational speaker, a woman of faith that breathes life into those around her. Surely she wasn't talking to me. Well, when my thoughts finally came in, all I could think was, she was definitely not talking to the right person, because my God can do anything. And again, in that moment, I could just feel the peace of God. And it was like a still, quiet voice said to me, "I'm sorry. Everything is going to be okay." And you almost can't help but begin to think of all the reasons this is or could be your fault. Because even when we feel so helpless, somehow, some way, we still allow our flesh to pridefully think that we dictate and have control over all situations and all outcomes. On that day, I believe I learned, not only is death inevitable, it just happens. And God said to me, your faith or even lack of faith is not a contributing factor to the sad reality that death is your sentence when you were born and time is not in your control. Well, Jeremiah 29:11 comforted me because I realized that God never intended for evil and still has no hands in the wicked things of today. He literally does not possess an evil thought. Yet, the enemy and even our bodies still fail us because we are imperfect and we live in this world. But I had to tell myself, Janelle, take cheer. You still have a future and you still have a hope that is filled with victory and the love of God. Philippians 4:7 says, "And the peace of God, which surpasses your understanding, will guard your heart and mind through Christ Jesus." And Revelation 12 says that we are overcomers by the blood of Jesus and the words of our testimonies. And so today I want to encourage you that in spite of the darkness, we can still shine brighter. And in spite of the hate, we can still love harder. It was really, really difficult for me to go through this miscarriage because I really wanted this. And I just knew in my heart of hearts that God blessed me with this baby and He blessed me with this opportunity. And when mind you, this was 2 weeks ago. This literally happened 2 weeks ago. The day after I got this news, I actually had the miscarriage. And again, I'm very transparent in this because I was literally praying for someone and ministering to someone on the phone the next day and in the very moment that I was having a miscarriage. And ironically, this beautiful woman that I was praying and ministering to was pregnant herself. And I realized that everything leading up to this, everything aligning afterward, was Satan's attempt to completely destroy me. It was Satan's attempt at destroying me from the inside out. And when God confirmed that by telling me straight up, I said, God, I need to understand what this is. I need to understand why. What is this that I'm going through? And He said, Satan's trying to destroy you from the inside out. And then I had to realize that even when Satan pushes us to a certain point, even when he attempts to push us far away from what seems like our purpose, God is the greatest opportunist to meet us right at that moment and say, I was expecting you. Look what I have for you. In this moment, I realized that I couldn't have the peace of God if he didn't have something in store for me. And I don't say that. I think the greatest thing that I realized in this is sometimes people say, well, maybe it just wasn't your time. It's never intended. It was never designed. It was never in the plans for us to experience death, hurt, pain, shame. God doesn't even think evil thoughts towards us. It's not in who he is. It's not in how his function. He literally cannot function in the mindset or the thought of death or evil. But Satan is the ruler of this world, and his tangible hand is moving in this realm. And unfortunately, our bodies are flawed and our bodies will fail us. But Christ Jesus will never. His love can consume you in greater ways than you understand. Out of death came life. In 2017, I got out of the military and God said to me, I want you to write your music and I want you to go on tour. And I procrastinated because in my heart of hearts, I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like anybody would really want to hear me sing. I didn't feel like anyone would actually come and support me. Who really wants to hear me sing? I enjoy singing, but I had convinced myself that I hated what I sounded like, and everyone else did too. I had convinced myself that I would never be good enough. And so even though I was singing and ministering and speaking life into people, I was not being obedient when God said to me, write your music and go on tour. Because the reality is I was fearful. And after I realized that Satan was trying to destroy my very being, I said to him, checkmate. Birthed out of this death is my life. I'm no longer going to stay in darkness. I'm no longer going to stay in a dead state of not moving because I'm just here. I'm no longer going to allow Satan to kill my dreams, to kill my desires, to kill my passion, to kill my joy, to kill my peace. Even to the point where Satan thought he was going to kill my identity and my desires to be a mother to more children. For my women who have experienced this, and for my men who have had to be support system to women who have gone through this, I want to encourage you that you can live even after this. Satan tried to tell me, or Satan tried to invoke fear in the idea that you don't want to try again. Surely you don't want to try again. You don't want to produce again. And I had to tell Satan that I am not only going to produce life inside of me again, but I am going to produce life inside of others. I am going to birth dreams inside of other people that they didn't even know existed. I am going to invoke thoughts in people where they didn't even think were possible. I am going to birth destinies in people through my music and through my ministry. I refuse to allow Satan to keep me in death, because God literally sent his one and only son to produce life even in death. Jesus had to die so that we might live. And even though this flesh will kill us because of the experience that we go through, even though Satan will present us opportunities to stay in a dead state, I challenge you to rise to the occasion and let Satan know, checkmate. I'm showing up, and I'm not just going to show up, but I am going to soar. I am going to mount up with wings on eagles, like eagles. I'm going to run and not grow weary, and I'm going to walk and not faint. I might be a little nervous about what's to come because I've never done it, but I know the God I serve will be holding my hand the entire time, and he will do the same for you. And so my big news is finally here, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So let's get a drum roll. My single, Used by You, will be dropping September the 1st. on iTunes and on Spotify. And I'm so excited to be sharing this moment with you all. My hope and my prayer is that you will follow my journey to my single. So for the next 2 weeks, I hope you stay tuned on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. I hope and pray that you will go with me in this journey. And then I'm coming to a city near you, because that's right, your girl is going on tour. He spoke to me in 2017 and told me this is what I was going to be doing. It is now 2019 and I'm finally giving God my yes. If you've been putting things off, let me start by saying this. You might have delayed your blessing, but you have not discounted your destiny. Satan would love for you to think that it's too little too late for you, but God is omnipresent. He is standing here with us today saying, daughter, son, your dreams have only scratched the surface. I've got so much more in store for you. I can do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask or think. So again, I'm so excited for what God is about to do through my first single, Used by You, and what I am going to be able to do and birth and inspire in His children as I go on tour. So be checking for that, because I'm coming to a city near you. My song Used by You, I was inspired to write this song. I'll tell you just quickly a little bit about it, but Used by You was written because I was at a place in my life where people had made me feel like my gift wasn't enough, made me feel like I was just not good. I was not good, and I was incapable of doing what I believe God told me was my purpose. And so I remember one day at church, they kind of like laughed at me because I led the Sunday before, and they were telling me how I was all over the place and I was doing the most and like yada, yada, yada. And I had offered to lead praise and worship one Sunday, and they were like, oh, no. Pastor said only certain people can lead, so yeah, you can't. And I remember leaving church, sitting in my car, bawling my eyes out and telling God, you are a liar. I cannot believe that you would lie to me and tell me that I was created to do this. And then obviously your pastor, if I was supposed to do this, wouldn't you tell him? If I was supposed to do this, wouldn't other people see and understand this in me? And I realized in that moment the importance of being a disciple, being a Christian, being a believer. Your words have influence, your words have power. And you have to be mindful and careful of what you say, because people will take your words and believe that God is speaking. But that's the charge when you stand before God and people and say, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, I am an ambassador of Christ. And I say that to say that when people use you, they will deplete you to dry. But when God uses you, He fills you to overflow. And so Used by You might have been birthed out of my pain, but it is a staple to remind me that as long as I am in the hands of the Father and I'm being used by Him, I cannot fail. So, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful. Please stay tuned as we go on this journey together. Again, my name is Janelle Chukukari, also known as Lady J, and I will say this to the ends of the earth. Speak truth, but remember to spread love. God bless. Lady J signing out.